So welcome to Classroom Management for EDTE 4200. The learning goal after this lecture, my hope is that you understand classroom management is not something that you work on in isolation, but part of a larger plan involving engaging lesson plans, routines and procedures, and classroom culture. So classroom management is not just one thing that you can go work on. It's not really a simple book that you apply and then voila, your class is perfect. With or without technology, classroom management is all about routines, procedures, and I crossed out engagement and put empowerment. For students to be actively empowered in the classroom, it must be a safe environment where they feel confident in themselves. I like to put it this way: engagement is kind of that weekend where maybe you take the kids to Disneyland, and by about 3 o'clock, everybody's super tired and you had fun, but you're ready to go home and you don't really want to go to Disneyland again for a while. So that would be the equivalent of being engaged. Empowered would be that feeling you get when you go to Yosemite or Sequoia Park or one of the national parks in California, and you're tired, but at the end of the day, you're thinking, man, how have I not gone to more national parks in California? We have such amazing parks. And then you make it your goal to continue to go out to parks and enjoy nature. That's the difference between engaged and empowered. It's the difference between the student who's playing video games all day and the student who's creating their own video game and has this master plan to become a video game developer. Big difference in the words, and it's not just semantics. Now, I like these memes because they personify what an unempowered student can possibly be, and not sure if sleepy or just really boring in class. Can I be excused for class for the rest of my life? And how many times have you sat in a class and wondered, you're literally thinking that, can I just go? Can you just give me the test and let me finish? And the unfortunate part is that many of our kids are sitting through class feeling the exact same way. Now, the reality is we can't change our kids no matter what. The kids as they come, that's the student, but you can change how you give them the opportunity to access information, how you deliver the information, and how you provide a learning environment for them to want to stay in the class. And most of the classroom management problems that we have, they can be solved with rich and engaging and empowering lessons, and that's the truth. But don't just add memes or don't just add something funny to your presentation, because then you'll be this person tries to be cool by going over boring class procedures using memes. And the point is, it's not just one thing, oh, we do Google Slides or we do Google Docs. That in and of itself isn't really empowering and encouraging kids to be creative. That's just one thing that you're doing in the class, just as if you were adding memes to a presentation. So I'm sharing this one right here. This is called the achievement gap. The achievement gap is the sad reality that there are many students in our schools who are not successful. And the reason they're not successful is because when you walk into a traditional classroom, the expectations more or less already set. You'll have let's say you have 20 students in the class. You'll have your 5 students who are A plus. Everybody kind of knows they're going to college, and when they walk in, when a visitor walks in, kids can point out and say, those are your great readers, those are your great writers. Then you have this 10% who maybe with a little bit of help or working with each other, they kind of move up to this level and they work well. Then you have this 10% over here, and these kids typically with some help from the teacher, they can move forward, they can move ahead, and maybe some after school intervention, and they'll be able to get on to the next grade. Then unfortunately we have this group down here, these five in the back, and the sad reality is that those kids really never find their place in education. And I can tell you that for a fact because I've taught from 6 through 12, and I see kids who are slipping through the cracks constantly. Now, what exactly does this have to do with classroom management? Typically, a lot of your behavior issues will be coming down in this area because the students are not engaged, they're not empowered. Although these students can also feel the same way, you're going to see a lot of the issues there. And the truth is, even if those students are not your highest in math or they're not your highest in English, you can still have them contribute to the classroom culture and improve the dynamics of your class. And this is how. So let's say that this gray line here is for language arts, for English, and it's for writing. Now, let's say that in your English class you incorporate stop motion. What I usually find is the 5 kids that all of a sudden are all-stars at stop motion over here, these kids, they can also come from these groups down here at the bottom. So when someone walks into your class now, they say, hey, you know, those are the 5 great readers, the 5 great writers, but you know what, those 5 kids there, they can sure tell a great story with their stop motion. You add some great presentations to it, you'll have some other kids that come into the mix. You add something like 3D models, you'll have other kids come into the mix. Now, maybe we haven't, you know, improved the scores of every student, but we've empowered a larger group of kids by incorporating more technology tools that kids can actually use in the classroom. And that's what these add here. That's what these different programs and pedagogies or tools add to the class. It gives kids more access to the curriculum, whereas in a regular boring class, only those 5 at the top right there are constantly engaged. In a class where you're being dynamic, where you're introducing different pieces of technology, different tools, there's this many more kids who are engaged, and you can see the difference when you walk into the class. So in my regular old class, sometimes I would start clubs, sometimes I would have an after school club, sometimes I would incorporate it directly into the curriculum. But as a teacher, it's important for you to also find enjoyment in what you do. So I'm into technology. I've had kids do screencast videos, stop motion, doing stop motion, repairing iPads, creating 3D models. But you can bring in whatever it is that you're into the class, and kids will absolutely love you so much for it because you're thinking outside the box. So if you say, you know, hey, I'm a fantastic cook, you could bring cooking into your class. You could start a little club, have kids cooking. You say, hey, well, you know, sports is my thing. You could bring sports into the school. You can be coaching. You can do we want in education people to be themselves, people to bring what they have to offer to kids. And like I said, I like technology, but whatever it is that you have to offer, there's going to be plenty of kids there who are just going to be happy and enthused because you are happy and enthused to bring that learning to them. And it makes a difference. So how can we actually model expectations? Because it's not just about being engaging, it's not just about being empowering, it's also about showing kids what we expect of them. I'm not going to show this video here. You can watch it later in the lecture, but what you should know is that this video was part of our first frog dissection, and we made the video where the teachers acted like the students, and then one of our students acted like the teacher. After the kids watched the video in all of the 7th grade classes, they actually had to fill out a chart like this, and then we hung it up in the class to show what the expectations were for our frog dissection. And at the end of it, it actually went great, and it was successful, and we really enjoyed it. I am going to model this video here, and this video I made it going into our first film festival, and this was one of the first times where I actually used the students to help me model how we were supposed to act, and it went pretty well. So I hope you enjoy this one and watch this one right now. Now, anything you can do, your kids can do better. And taking the opportunity to create engaging work can get the creative juices flowing for your kids. As the lead learner, you want to inspire the kids to be creative and have fun. So think of it in the last video. The last video, we did it together as a class. In this video, these students actually created this. They took the initiative to create this video, set up an anti-bullying campaign. We were able to share it on the school website. And then the students that created the video actually published all of it through their own iPhone. So talk about empowerment, and talk about having students take the lead and show that they can be the difference makers and the leaders on the campus. So this last video, this is actually just a video where it shows how the kids did after we did our frog dissection, and we had a student who actually went around and took all the videos and the shots for it, so it was pretty cool. All right, so I'm gonna leave you there with that. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and please remember, it's not so much about engaging kids. It's more so about empowering them. And along with that, you also have to model the correct expectations, have the right routines, and ultimately, as a teacher, you're the lead learner, and you want the kids to have fun, and you want what you have to offer to be infectious. You know, you want the kids, they are going to look up to you. They're going to look up to you, and you want to model for them what a creative, lifelong learner looks like.